Our first guest tonight revealing shocking new details concerning Hillary Clinton's email system, that illicit system identifying at least 18 classified emails found on Anthony Weiner's laptop. Weiner, of course, once married to Clinton aide Huma Abedin. Joining us now, Chris Farrell, Director of Investigations and Research for Judicial Watch. That's the organization which has successfully filed a Freedom of Information Act request to release these very documents. Chris, first of all, congratulations on getting these documents and all of the work that Judicial Watch is doing. Now, when we talk about classified, these are not up-classified documents. These are, in fact, classified at the time they were transacting on the email server of Mrs. Clinton at home.
That is correct, Lou, and thanks. It's very important that distinction be made. These records and documents were classified at the time that they were produced and transmitted. They are not so-called retroactively classified. That's a smokescreen and a red herring. They were classified when they were written, they were classified when they were transmitted, and they were classified when they were resident on the Weiner laptop.
And the FBI investigators presumably knew that, did they not? They just didn't share it with the public.
Absolutely. And I have a tidbit concerning Mr. Grassley and the Comey memos. I may be jumping ahead a bit, but this is important.
Jump in any direction you want here.
We have a sworn declaration from David Hardy, who is the chief FOIA officer of the FBI that we obtained just in the last few days. And in that sworn declaration, Mr. Hardy says that all of Comey's memos, all of them, were classified at the time they were written, and they remain classified. So the kind of open question from Mr. Grassley about, is it 4 of 7 or what time were they?
Right.
No, we have a sworn declaration from the chief FOIA officer of the FBI. They were classified at the time that Comey wrote them.
And while that may not be determinate, I suppose at some point forward in litigation, should it come to that, it is determinate in the case of FOIA and gives us a clear understanding, it would seem, the thinking of the FBI as to the level of classification for all of those memoranda.
Well, it's also mishandling of national defense information, which is a crime. So it's clear that Mr. Comey not only authored those documents, but then knowingly and willfully leaked them to persons unauthorized, which is in and of itself a national security crime. Mr. Comey should have been read his rights back on June 8th when he testified before the Senate.
And he has not been read his rights yet. He has not been charged yet. Who would be the charging party? Would it be the FBI itself?
Well, the Attorney General of the United States, the Department of Justice, would actually bring an indictment once they impanel a grand jury. But the investigative process, of course, will be conducted by the FBI.
And the FBI that he once led has to be furious that he has sullied the name of the storied agency, that he has led the FBI in its most politicized, I think it's fair to say. One thought that the J. Edgar Hoover days, parts of those years were highly politicized, but it's beginning to look as nothing touched the FBI during the Obama years.
The recently retired and active duty FBI agents have told me, and it's several of them, they consider Comey to be a dirty cop.
A dirty cop, and one who is certainly pious as he talks about how to
his tweets with Bible verses and haikus or whatever else he's been writing recently.
and the laudable photography that he has committed out in the Midwest. The list goes on.